Duck and cover is rather terrifying, but actually very effective. Or so I assume. Certainly when I was watching it, I found that it was teaching me some valuable information that I would remember. And to be honest, I will remember this for quite a long time. This was released in 1952. It's a civil defense video that was released in the United States, I believe shown to children at schools, telling them what to do in the event of a nuclear attack. And if a nuclear bomb goes off, you have to duck and cover. And there's this very adorable turtle character called Bert, and Bert shows how to do this by ducking and covering himself inside of his house. And the film goes on to explain, combining live action and animation, that, like Bert, you need to duck and cover, but you don't have a shell, so this is how you do it instead. And it shows children ducking and covering in classrooms, on the street, in doorways, on buses, and it is scary. And I watched it thinking, if this was shown to me now, and it was now a genuine threat, not that nuclear attacks are not a genuine threat, but if it was something that we perceived to be very imminent, and we were shown this as a safety video, I would genuinely be scared for my life. But at the same time, it makes it look so simple. It's a very peculiar mix of emotions where I'm watching it thinking, okay, all you need to do is duck and cover and you'll be fine. Um, I didn't know that it was possible to be warned about a nuclear bomb, so I found that very educational. Sometimes there's a flash. It didn't really explain why you couldn't be warned sometimes. If anybody knows that, please let me know. I'm sure I can Google it and find out. But it would be interesting to know if anybody does know why warnings are possible sometimes and not other times. But yeah, so I did watch it thinking, okay, you just duck and cover, it's as easy as that. But at the same time, it is terrifying. It is, I'd say it's bordering on scaremongering, but because it's doing it for such an educational purpose, rather than, say, as propaganda, trying to get people to enlist, I don't really think it's that scaremongering. It is genuinely useful information. If ducking and covering does help to protect you from, nuclear blasts or anything, then it is genuinely useful. And if we ever have a scare like this in the UK, touch wood we never do, I will know exactly what to do. I will pretend to be a turtle and duck and cover inside my shell. It was quite clever. It showed one girl covering herself with her jacket. I genuinely probably wouldn't have even thought to do that. Although, in the moment, if I hear the noise that says I have to duck and cover, would I actually think? Would I be able to think about taking off my jacket and throwing it over my head? I don't know. It did actually. This was a terrible thought, but in one of the clips, it showed somebody jumping off of a moving tractor to duck and cover because they're on a tractor when the siren goes off or when they see the flash, I can't remember which. And I did think to myself, jumping off of a moving tractor is probably going to do you more damage than the problems of a nuclear blast, depending, of course, how far away it is. So that one was a little bit choice, but generally I honestly found it very moving, very effective, very important, and very terrifying. On the one hand, it's very dated. It definitely feels dated. And at the same time, they could show this today and it would still make sense. It would still be relevant. It's still easy to follow. Does using an animated turtle cheapen it a little bit? Well, it makes you pay attention, I guess. The turtle wasn't really involved in the bits that were genuinely useful or helpful, but maybe it makes it memorable. Although, duck and cover, maybe it would have been better if it was a duck. I don't know. Let me know if you think it would have been better if the protagonist was a duck. Because then you'd at least remember it was a duck, otherwise you're going to think of a turtle. And it's going to take your brain an extra couple of seconds to think of the word duck after you go to turtle. Maybe that's just me. Either way, duck and cover is definitely worth watching. I'd be interested to know if anybody remembers this from the 50s, or certainly if they've seen it in years after. It's a very interesting piece, very, very long. It's about 10 minutes, 9 or 10 minutes. It covers a lot of ground, but it's fascinating, and it was compelling. I was compelled, and really thoroughly enjoyed it. And actually, as creepy and cheesy as some of it is, I was genuinely impressed.